all-seeing eye of the television camera never blinks and that it catches everything.
But which moments have been the most memorable?
Time and time again, we come across moments that shock us. We're talking about encountering friendly bears or having men risk their lives to save dogs. Sometimes it feels like the line between reality and fiction is razor thin. And today we've rounded up some moments where it seems like some people have no bounds, and your mouth will be left dragging the floor. Join us as we have a look at moments that would be hard to believe if they had not been filmed. Near train wreck. In this video, a black SUV and a large truck came to a halt in front of a railroad crossing. Usually, people wait patiently for the train to pass by, but there have been moments of extreme impatience. The truck suddenly careens forward and pushes the SUV ahead onto the tracks. The nearby rail worker cannot believe his eyes and tries to raise the crossing arm to let them through, but then the truck driver reverses, taking the barrier signpost with them. When the person in the SUV exits the car to investigate, the truck then tries to run away. A short time later, the train is coming and the SUV driver has to get off the tracks, and as the driver accelerates, his car makes a razor-thin escape from being pummeled by the oncoming train. And get this, the truck driver would later claim brake failure, but the internet quickly accused him of foul play, pointing out that his brakes appeared to operate perfectly when he reversed. Narrow hit and miss. In January of 2019, residents of Nashville, Tennessee were taken aback when they witnessed a military plane flying remarkably close to the ground. In the video, we see the plane skim across the tops of buildings and even pass by office windows. This unusual sight continued for about a half an hour, prompting alarmed onlookers to make hundreds of calls to local authorities, seeking answers about the event. It would later be revealed that this dramatic display was part of a training exercise in preparation for a flyover that was meant to commemorate the inauguration of the new governor. However, due to the lack of prior warning and the seemingly reckless flight path, many people were not amused. And despite the meticulous rehearsal, the actual celebratory flight was ultimately canceled due to weather, meaning that both the rehearsal and the anxiety it caused turned out to be in vain. Lava everywhere. In December of 2013, workers at a steel manufacturing plant in Russia learned a hard lesson in safety after a catastrophic failure occurred. In video footage, we see a malfunction occur while a machine is pouring molten metal. The molten steel explodes and spreads around the manufacturing floor instead of flowing into its intended position. Despite the severity of the event, none of the personnel were injured or burned as a result of their thorough safety training. The exact cause behind the machine's unexpected behavior is uncertain, but it appears that the bucket was meant to follow a specific path when empty, but someone may have mistakenly operated the wrong controls. Sinkhole opening in a road. The surface of the ground may appear stable from above, but beneath the surface, conditions can be vastly different. In certain places, water will slowly erode the underlying rock layers, and once enough support is lost, the ground collapses inwards, forming a sinkhole. This footage from Russia vividly illustrates the severity of such an event. The cement mixer, 2 cars ahead, is driving steadily when suddenly it topples to the left and sinks. Thankfully, the hole was small and only sank a part of the truck. Nearby cars would screech to a halt, but quickly drove away. Authorities later attributed this incident to a small sinkhole. Had it been any larger, and the consequences could have been far more catastrophic. Unforgiving bushfire. Bushfires in Australia are a grave concern, as attested to by the Dunmore Rural Fire Brigade, based in New South Wales. They face challenges that are akin to the wildfires often seen in California. As temperatures rise and the land becomes parched, Australian bushfires become just as treacherous and deadly. The fire brigade has recently released harrowing dashcam footage to illustrate how rapidly one of these fires can escalate. In a matter of moments, the peaceful scene of a green rural road transforms into a nightmarish inferno. In the footage, the situation doesn't appear to be initially too severe. Crew members can be seen inspecting their gear and waiting for their supplies from other units, and there's hardly any wind at all. However, only moments later, the wind intensifies, drastically altering the scenario. At this point, most of the fire brigade swiftly departs for safety. However, one truck remains, capturing the full intensity of the blaze. The winds reach speeds of roughly 60 miles an hour, and the fire quickly escalates only minutes after the video begins. The scene morphs into a nightmarish landscape. With each passing minute, the fire crosses the road, continuing on its destructive path. Around the same time, those who are inside of the truck activate the cab spray, a built-in safety feature that disperses water in every direction in order to prevent the vehicle from catching fire. A few minutes later, it seems that the worst is behind them, but in the span of only 10 minutes, the road looked entirely different. Fortunately, everyone managed to evacuate in the nick of time. The tree versus lightning. In this shocking video, a powerful lightning strike demonstrates the sheer force of nature. The scene is set at a lodge where guests are advised to stay indoors due to an impending storm, and thankfully, security cameras were set up to capture the storm's passing and keep a lookout for anyone stranded. Out of nowhere, a bolt of lightning rips through the sky and strikes a towering pine tree in the lodge's courtyard. Unsurprisingly, the tree is obliterated, and shards of wood and debris come crashing down on the lodge. The beautiful tree becomes demolished, and remnants of it keep raining down, damaging the house's roof in the process. Remarkably, nobody would be injured in this event, and it serves as a reminder of the immense power of natural phenomena, emphasizing the importance of safety precautions during severe weather conditions. Gone with the Wind. In this footage, we have two girls who are dressed in floral gowns that set out on a bike ride, completely ignorant of the quirky obstacle that awaits them. The wind tugs at their skirts and gowns as they sit stationary, attempting to conceal their modesty, and despite their best efforts, it continuously flirts with their apparel, making them even more puzzled. They probably didn't read the weather forecast before choosing their outfit for the day. But then again, maybe the wind is desperate to give them a picture-perfect Marilyn Monroe moment. Saving the dog. Here we can see a construction crew from Ecuador working on an irrigation channel when an urgent call comes over the radio. They're told that a helpless dog is stuck in the canal and has no way out. Without a moment's notice, one of the local workers volunteers for a daring rescue attempt. In the video, we see him quickly climb into the backhoe bucket and carefully lower it into the water. Spotting the distressed dog, he knows that timing is crucial for the rescue mission. He successfully reaches the dog and secures her safety in the bucket. Through a well-coordinated event, the crew lift both of them out of the water, ensuring the dog's safety. There is a moment of relief and joy that is shared amongst the workers and the rescued canine. Following the rescue, the workers pool their resources to take the dog to the vet. She receives treatment for inflammation and infection, ultimately making a complete recovery. And it turns out the dog had been walking along the channel when the swift currents carried her away, but thankfully she found refuge in the bucket of the truck. Shark surfing. The shocking tale of professional surfer Mick Fanning is evidence of the dangers that lurk beneath the waves. At the 2015 World Surf League Championships at Jeffreys Bay in South Africa, Fanning, a seasoned surfer, had found himself in a harrowing encounter with a shark. As he rode the waves, a tugging at his board signaled imminent danger, and within moments it became clear that he was under attack. In the video, we see some violent thrashing, a shark's fin, and a tail emerging from the water. It's a terrifying sight. Fueled by pure survival instinct, Fanning bravely fights off the predator. With a window of opportunity, he swiftly swims back towards the approaching race officials, who race to his rescue. In an astonishing turn of events, just 2 years later, he faced an eerily similar situation at the exact same event. The second close encounter with the shark prompted him to make a life-changing decision. After these incidents, Fanning chose to retire from professional surfing, a testament to the intensity and danger that is inherent within the sport. The Fall. Lake Wakaramona Track draws adventurous hikers from all corners of the world. The area also holds special significance for the Mori-Iwi tribe, known as the Children of the Mist, because it's their ancestral home. The track hugs the shoreline of the expansive lake, offering a challenging 27-mile hiking trail that typically takes 3 to 4 days to complete. Along the way, there are convenient reservable huts for accommodations, and it's not exactly an easy hike. In October of 2015, a group of French hikers set out on the trail. Their journey would lead them to an impressive 213-foot suspension bridge engineered to support up to 10 individuals. With only 4 in their group, they anticipated a smooth passage. However, fate had other plans. Suddenly, a jarring cracking sound echoed in the middle of the bridge, and one of the hikers manages to hold on, clinging to the side, desperately gripping for his life. When he turns to check on his companions, they have vanished. Looking down, he spots them struggling in the river below, fighting to stay afloat. Thankfully, everyone emerged unharmed, albeit considerably more wet than they had ever imagined. Authorities would pinpoint the collapse to an unusual manufacturing defect in one of the cable's links. It's a vivid reminder that sometimes it's best to keep both feet firmly on solid ground. Makeup first. Makeup during an earthquake is one of the most unexpected scenarios for an online tutorial, yet it happened to a makeup artist named Ali J. In July of 2019, she was applying lipstick, and her world was suddenly thrown into chaos. In the video, we see the room begin to violently shake, catching her entirely off guard, and predictably, her plans to nail her makeup look go sideways, and fear washes over her as she realizes the gravity of the situation. Miraculously, the tremor subsides after a few moments, leaving her unharmed. The sheer improbability of such an event makes it almost unbelievable had it not been captured on camera. This incident stands as a testament to the unpredictable nature of life and the surprising turns that it can take, even during the most mundane of moments. Brutal can opener. Our reliance on trucks for the transportation of goods is evident when you look around. Most items in your home have likely arrived via a semi-truck at some point. However, there are instances where trucks can prove to be too large for their safety, especially when their drivers are not exercising due caution. This footage comes from a security camera where a well-known bridge in North Carolina sits belonging to Norfolk Southern Railroad. It's gained local notoriety as being a can opener, and you're about to see exactly why. Originally built in the 1920s, the can opener had an 11-foot 8-inch clearance, which was the standard height of the time. However, by 1973, standards were raised to 13.6 to accommodate larger trucks. Bridges constructed before that revision were not mandated for reconstruction, so it's easy to see why truckers are accustomed to driving under a more contemporary bridge. Despite the presence of warning signs and flashing lights, the can opener was responsible for about one incident per month from 2008 to 2019. Then, in 2019, North Carolina would take the measures of raising the bridge by 8 inches. Nevertheless, even with the new 12-foot 4-inch clearance, it remained lower than what many are accustomed to. One smart individual started a YouTube channel called the 11-foot 8 Bridge, which meticulously logs each and every instance of a truck having collided with the bridge. It is hilarious and one of my most favorite channels on YouTube. And trust me, it's full of intriguing content. Multiplying fighter jet. Australian Air Force pilot Ryan Melville is no stranger to pushing jets to their limits. His expertise often leads him to perform daring acrobatic displays for audiences. In 2017, he was called upon to deliver a heart-stopping show at the Gold Coast 600, an annual car race in Queensland, Australia. But rather than navigating the course in a car, he took to the skies in a Hawk 127. Cockpit footage captures the jet weaving and turning along the coast, skimming astonishingly close to buildings. The experience must have been an adrenaline-fueled thrill ride for the two crew members on board. Witnessing such low-altitude and close-quarters flying, especially in a populated area, is an incredibly rare sight that showcases his exceptional piloting skills. The balloon. Janesville is a small city in Rock County, Wisconsin, and renowned as Wisconsin's Park Place. It offers a sprawling 2,000-plus acres of park systems for recreation, and surprisingly, with all of its open space, one hot air balloon found it challenging to find a place to land. In this video footage, we see onlookers in awe, exclaiming in surprise as the balloon narrowly misses its target. Their reactions become a mixture of amazement and shock, and the sudden turn of events leaves them in disbelief.
Crazy.
According to the fire department's account, the owner of the balloon was attempting to land in Bond Park, which he typically does, but unfortunately he had miscalculated the landing this time and tried to ascend again to avoid the power lines. Regrettably, this attempt would prove to be futile, and the balloon collided with the cables, resulting in a burst. Fortunately, everyone in the basket emerged unscathed and avoided any electrical danger. The accident did lead to a power outage, but it was promptly restored after the removal of the balloon. Base jump from Burj Khalifa. The Burj Khalifa in Dubai stands as the world's tallest building, towering at an impressive 2,717 feet above the ground. The owners of this architectural marvel are not satisfied with only holding the record. They regularly organize spectacular events to keep the world's attention. In 2014, they took things to an unprecedented level of extreme. Teaming up with a local skydiving group, they arranged for 2 base jumpers to leap from the pinnacle. The footage is nothing short of astonishing. The jumpers soar towards the ground in their wingsuits with the desert cityscape as a backdrop. It's truly a breathtaking sight as they skillfully circled the colossal building, leaving trails of red smoke in their wake. Unsurprisingly, the daring feat resulted in a world record for the highest successful base jump ever completed. Depending on your perspective, these individuals could be seen as the most brave and daring individuals on the planet or the most insane. Pedro Lake. Don Pedro Lake is located in the Sierra Nevada foothills of East Modesto, California. With 160 miles of shoreline and 13,000 surface acres of water to enjoy, boating, fishing, swimming, water skiing, and more are amongst the most popular water-based activities on the lake. During the summer of 2019, an uncommon and dramatic incident took place that had people rethinking their holiday plans. In this case, the community had created a poker tournament with an unusual twist. It took the shape of a scavenger hunt instead of the standard arrangement. Players were given the task of exploring the lake with solving puzzles to find scattered poker chips. They would return to designated check-in points after locating a chip to exchange it for a playing card. The winner would be the player with the best 5-card hand. In this case, the video's focus was on a houseboat that acted as one of these check-in points. When too many players had attempted to cash their chips in at the same time, the unexpected occurs. The extra weight and movement had caused a dangerous shift in the boat's balance, and the next thing you know, it's like watching the Titanic sink. Fortunately, a quick thinking effort is put into place which allows everyone on board to safely exit the house. Despite a few deck chairs ending up in the water, everybody manages to reach the shoreline. Shocking helicopter stunts. Helicopter stunts are not for the faint of heart. The BO-105, originally a German anti-tank helicopter, would be introduced in 1970, and while it was designed for combat agility, its features also made it ideal for aerobatics. It was amongst the pioneers with twin light engines and a hingeless rotor system, enabling an extraordinary level of precision. Charlie Zimmerman, renowned for daring stunts with this helicopter, showcases maneuvers that defy belief. He executes inverted loops, maintains incredibly low altitudes, and navigates through trees and obstacles with astonishing agility. His control over the helicopter seems as natural as an extension of himself. This level of skill and precision is a rare feat, achievable by only a select few with the confidence and ability. The Bear Whisperer. In November of 2021, Susan Kehoe had an unexpected visitor on her porch, a massive black bear. Instead of panicking, though, Susan remained remarkably calm and politely asked the bear to close her front door. Astonishingly, the bear seemed to understand her request and attempted to close the door, showcasing a rather unusual interaction between a human and a bear. But be wary, because these encounters are not only unusual, but it's also best to keep a safe distance at all times from a wild animal. You just never know when a bear is going to go wild, and experts suggest staying indoors if you see one in your vicinity. However, Susan would go on to gain a reputation for her interactions with local black bears. She even faced some legal trouble when she decided to interfere with state biologists who were attempting to tranquilize a bear and change its radio collar. Then, once again, she broke headlines when she was spotted feeding the bears, although she was ultimately found not guilty. The rocket launch. Rocket launches are an enthralling activity that continue to draw enormous crowds. However, in October of 2014, one attempted launch went wrong. An unmanned craft was supposed to transport supplies to the International Space Station. Initially, the launch appeared to be a success, but unfortunately, shortly after takeoff, a propulsion system malfunction in the first stage had caused the rocket to crash land. The subsequent explosion would send a shockwave up to 20 miles away, and the resulting fire raged all night before ultimately being put out the next day. Fortunately, nobody would be hurt, but the payload, worth tens of millions of dollars, would be destroyed. Hippo attack. No one ever wants to find a wild animal attacking them, but not all people are lucky enough to escape one. While people love going on safari, things do not always go as planned. In this video, we see a couple on a tour boat in an African safari in Kenya in 2018 when suddenly things take a wrong turn. They bump into a family of hippos in the lake, and the boat was an unwelcome surprise because one hippo became aggressive and began to chase it. Interestingly, hippos, despite their large size, cannot actually swim. They navigate through the water by galloping along the lake bed and surfacing for air. But these 10,000-pound animals are not to be messed with. This video serves as a reminder of the wild and unpredictable nature of animals, even in their natural habitats. NYC Crazy Bike Ride. New York City is crazy busy, and trying to walk there is an adrenaline-pumping experience in and of itself. Driving or cycling comes at a price, as seen in this video. In a way, navigating the city on a bike is a tad better because you can swivel through the chaos, but what I'm about to show you is super reckless. Here we see a man setting out on a journey from Manhattan where he races his way through the streets towards Brooklyn at breakneck speed. He only decides to pause ever so slightly when the road becomes super congested, and you can't help but admire his skill of whizzing past pedestrians, vehicles, and even flocks of birds. What's scary are the multiple close calls that he encounters, but the man seems to live for the thrill. Throughout the 16-minute journey, he rarely eases off the throttle. It's almost miraculous that he completes the ride without any incident. That's all for these moments that are hard to believe if not caught on camera. Which were your favorite? Let me know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.